Hi, I'm Kaia, and I'm a biomedical engineering student at Purdue. Despite that, I find myself working a lot with robotics. It started my freshman year of high school. I got asked to go to a meeting, and I ended up staying for 4 years. And it wasn't just those 4 years. My freshman year of college, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna work on my work-life balance. So I didn't go back and mentor. And instead, I decided to join a team in college, build the same robots, and then go back and volunteer at the competitions. My sophomore year in college, I decided it was time to go back and mentor. So I may have skipped a week of class at Purdue to go to the Robotics World Championships, as one does. If you've never been to the first Robotics World Championships, which I'm guessing most of you haven't, it's pretty huge. First Robotics is a global organization of 30,000 teams. 3,000 of those teams are in high school. 600 of those teams globally make it to the World Championship in Houston, Texas. It is an absolutely amazing experience. And as I was sitting on the plane to go to Texas doing my homework with the $10 Wi-Fi, I was thinking, why did I do this? And as soon as I got there and saw the venue, I remembered exactly why I was there, and it was for my students. When you go, there are 8 mini competitions, so they divide the 600 up among those 8 fields. Then each of those fields has a winner, and then each of those winners goes and fights for the World Championship title. And this year, the team that I mentor actually won that title among 600 teams. They were among the winning alliance. But despite that, that was not even the best or the most rewarding part of the season, although it was definitely up there. The most rewarding part was seeing their development throughout the season, the 8 weeks where they designed and built 125 pounds of pure robot. And I got to see their gears turning, and I got to see them change and grow as people. And when you go, these machines are amazing. They're not just singular motor, singular mechanism robots. They are complicated, and they had grown engineers, grown adults, marveling at their creations. And it got me wondering, at what point does somebody really become an inventor or an innovator? Do you have to graduate high school? Do you have to get a college degree? Maybe you have to get a bunch of patents to be an inventor. And to me, that is simply not true. I think my kids are inventors right now. After all, kids are very creative. Students have amazing minds, and they're already doing real-world things, including TED Talks. There's actually an entire group of TEDx youth speakers where it gives these young minds, their voices, a platform to be heard. Now, they're not just doing clubs, and they're not just making an impact through robotics, and they're not just doing robot sports. They're also getting patents. So how old do you think somebody should be to have a patent? I want you to think about it. Is it 16, 13, maybe 10? And the real answer is that yes, there is no proper age for you to get a patent as long as the idea is new, it is yours, and it is somewhat non-obvious and useful. And that is exactly what CV Robotics did. That is BroccoliBot. That is their official patent for BroccoliBot. And I don't know how many of you have ever seen a broccoli field, but it looks exactly like any other farm field. There's rows upon rows of plants. And if you were out there working all day, you'd get pretty tired. And this robot harvests broccoli at a rate of about 1 mile per hour, which doesn't sound like a lot as a walking speed, but as a working and harvesting speed, it's quite fast. And you may be thinking, okay, it's got wheels, it can cut broccoli. What's special about it? Anybody can do that, surely. But no, there's something more about this machine. It actually has a machine learning algorithm on board that these high school students built and programmed and created. And it recognizes each plant and cuts it at the correct height to maximize the harvest of each broccoli plant so that no food goes wasted. It helps combat hunger in the community because now you have more food, you're not wasting, you're not chopping off extra pieces of broccoli. And students came up with this with the help of mentors. There are other students, there are other kids much younger than me that are making huge impacts in the world today. The United States Patent and Trademark Office actually has a website dedicated just to teaching young people how to become inventors. It shows them the value of their intellectual property, and it shows them that they can already apply for patents with parent permission. And it tells them, hey, here's how you get started. They are our future, yes. Kids are so important and their education is so important, but they are also our now. You don't need a license or permission or a degree to become an inventor and to bring your ideas into the future. So why are students so creative? You may think, okay, they don't know industry standards, they don't know all the parts available to them, maybe the software, they don't know how to build something, and they don't have the experience like we do, the life experience. But my argument is that that is exactly why they're so good at inventing, because they don't know what is not possible yet. They haven't been told, you can't do that, you can't invent that, that's impossible, that doesn't fit within these specifications. If you've ever been a kid, which pretty sure we all have, right? Think back to when you were a kid. Think about maybe you got Legos, maybe you were more into the car toys, maybe you liked dollhouses. But whatever it was, you imagined something with that. You came up with a story and you made it so much more than it is just in its packaging. All kids have this ability to be insanely creative, and it has to do with how their brains work. Now, some of us may have heard of neuroplasticity, but in case you don't, it's the brain's physical ability to change as you learn. So your brain actually grows around the things that you learn. And this is a property of brains of all ages. However, it's especially strong of a skill in kids because they're so young, because they're absorbing all the new information around them. And in fact, there are important developmental periods in a kid's life that can increase their ability to be creative throughout the rest of their lives. These are even impacted by social inclusion, environmental factors. So us encouraging our students actively makes them more creative. The more you encourage them, the better they'll be set up in life. So here's what I need you guys to do. If you're an educator or a parent or simply a community member and a kid comes to you with an idea, the first thing you say should never be no. Because like I said, they're sponges. They will absorb everything you say, and just like they absorb, they output amazing ideas. But if you tell them no, if you tell them you can't come up with that idea, that's crazy, they will believe you immediately. They will say, you're so right, I don't know how to do this, and they will quit. And then that amazing idea will never come to fruition. But if you give them access to resources that they need to be able to invent whatever crazy thing they're coming up with, then the world can be a better place. Because as I said earlier, they don't necessarily have the resources or the knowledge to be able to bring an idea to life. However, you can give that to them. They come in with their crazy idea, you come in with your mentorship and your guidance and your instructions on how they can make it happen. If you're an educator or a parent, encourage them into fun challenges. Get some Legos at home and start building. Encourage them into extracurriculars like I was brought into. Teach them that their ideas are important. Intellectual property is a real thing, and their ideas should be safeguarded and worked upon as soon as they come up with them. If you've ever watched an improv comedy show, you might know about the yes and rule, in which if you're in a scene and you're trying to be funny, the other person in the scene doesn't come in and say, no, I don't want to do that. We're changing it right now in front of the whole audience. That's terrifying, and it doesn't make the scene funny anymore. In the same vein, if you're working with a younger person and they come to you with an idea, if you say no, they abandon it. And the scene, the idea, doesn't come to fruition anymore. But if you say yes and, you're inviting them to tell you about their idea, but you're also inviting them to listen to your contributions. Ask them to expand on what they're telling you. Ask them leading questions that help them learn how to think. When I was a student, what helped most was not being told exactly what to do, because that was super boring, and I didn't feel like I was putting any of my ideas into the project. However, being tossed into the deep end was also not good. I got frustrated, I gave up, and that is where the resources come in. If you sit with them and you get excited about their ideas, they will also get excited about them. And if you talk to them about their thoughts, then they will feel listened to, and they will feel like they can apply for a patent or go change the world or make a business someday. Because after all, they are our future, but they are also our now. And you are never, ever too young to have a good idea. Thank you.